This might be one of the most idiotic things I've seen in a while. I've seen a lot of idiotic things, but the short answer is no, this is not a violation of FERPA. Guys, there are still a lot of schools out there that provide a call list to parents of people within the school, okay? Like kids enrolled in the schools, the kids' addresses and or the parents' addresses and phone numbers. That is something that some schools still do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Parents can opt out, just like you can with the phone company. If you remember, we used to have these things called phone books. Some of you millennials may not know that, and then the next generation coming up. So, but we used to have these things called phone books. Okay. So, with that being said, to sit there and say, well, you can't give out kids' names, that's ridiculous. There is no expectation of privacy inside of public schools. It's a public school. The Supreme Court's already ruled on this back in the 70s. There is no expectation of privacy. And what does expectation of privacy means? It means that those people within that setting have a reasonable expectation that what they say, what they do, is to remain private and confidential. All right? That's not a public school. It's called a public school for a reason, okay? A public school, So, no. Otherwise, they would ban you from participating in parties. You wouldn't be able to show up. You wouldn't be able to go on field trips. Kids wouldn't be able to go on field trips. If we really take an insane approach to this idea of privacy, but that's insane. We just don't do that. So no, this rule or whatever this administrator, it's nonsense. Absolute and complete nonsense. Now, if they were to give the name of the child and then hand out the child's, let's say, 9-week report card with it, yes, that would be a violation. But just handing out their name as far as information, no. Now, where a lot of people get it wrong, let's say that your child and another child were engaged in discipline, bullying, those kind of things. Well, at that point, there are some nuances to where what ends up happening to the other child could become part of the child's education record, and therefore, if a parent goes, well, what happened to the other offending party, and at that point, there would be sometimes a justification not to tell the parent what the end result was, okay? Because it became a part of the child's education record, but just conveying to you, this is who your child is playing with, and this is who's interacting, and this is what's going on. No, that's nonsense. Absolute and complete nonsense. Regardless, whether the child has an IEP or not. See, FERPA applies to all kids, okay? Every child has an education record. So whether the child's a special education child or a general education child, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. So let's see if I got the rest of that. Ignorance abounds, and this ignorance ends up having a damaging effect upon implementation of IEPs, fostering of social emotional development like friendships, things like that, because we got an administrator out there that is stuck on stupid or has a power trip. And these are damaging situations, but no, that's ridiculous.